Hello, and welcome to another interview with the Zine Quest 3 game creator. Today we have Michael Putlack, who is going to tell us about his game MechTek, which will be launching as part of Kickstarter's initiative called Zine Quest. And we are now in the third iteration of Zine Quest. So, Michael, thanks for joining me, man.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me, John. I'm really happy to be here, and thanks for doing all these interviews. I think it's really cool that you're highlighting everyone's projects and stuff like that.
That's not a problem at all, and thank you for being a part of it because without creators like you, I wouldn't be able to do something like this. And so, really, the reason why I'm doing this is uh, twofold. It helps you guys get out there, and it helps me create a little bit more content. But basically, whatever I can do to help any kind of game creator, especially indie game creator, artist, anything like that, get a little bit of recognition and maybe a little bit more backers or whatever the case may be. I'm totally willing to do it because very, very many times do you guys become the unsung heroes, so to speak, because you're not the mainstream, you're not part of the mainstream gaming community or whatever the case may be,
Totally.
So before we talk about MechTek, I'd like to talk a little bit about you and kind of get to know who you are.
Sure. Yeah, well, I'm based in Fort Collins, Colorado, which is about an hour north of Denver. We've got a great beer scene up here, so if anyone wants to come say hello after the pandemic, let's get a beer. I've been playing tabletop role-playing games for about 8 years. When I first started with the group that I play with, it was still we were still playing D&D Next, was what 5e was called at the time, and we're still testing it out. So went from that, and then transferred over to 5th edition when that was officially released. And I've still played with that group, which is really awesome. It's kind of changed faces a little bit, and we obviously haven't been able to play that much during the pandemic. Yeah, other than that, I am in grad school currently to get an MBA from Colorado State University, which has been a lot of fun. But I've also been unemployed due to the pandemic since April, so I've had some free time on my hands. So when I heard about Zine Quest, I'm like, this is like a perfect opportunity for me to develop a game, since I've been sort of doing it here and there, but this has been the big motivator for me. I've done, developed little one-shots that I've played with friends before, but never sort of its own system or its own little adventure, which is what I'm going for with MechTek. Yeah, I'm really excited to be doing it, and I'll also say the community so far, yourself included, has been really great. It's been so much fun. There's a great Discord server with people doing Zine Quest projects, and Facebook groups and Reddit groups, and it's so great to see how supportive everyone is, and just how stoked everyone else is to see my project, to see everyone else's project. So far, all the community that I've interacted with has been really positive, really supportive, and it feels like we're all in this together, even though we have our own individual projects, which is really fun. It's a really fun place to be.
Yeah, so where you reached out to me on RPG Zines on Facebook, that's where I found everyone that I'll be interviewing. And your game, when you sent me the art for it, your game was different because your art looks very homemade, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, right? Because it goes to show me that are you doing the art yourself?
If you can call it art, yeah.
Well, yeah, I would call it.
Yeah, I'm doing it myself.
I would call it art because you're bringing forth something that it's something new to me, and you're putting your work to life, so to speak. So yeah, I do appreciate that, and it has a very homegrown feel to it, which is what I think of when I think of zines. It's very do-it-yourself, maybe in your basement with like a printer and a long stapler and a package of stamps. Like that's what I think of when I think of zines, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I'll totally add on to that. Like, I've been really into zines for a long time.
Okay.
And I think that's part of what drew me to Zine Quest, especially, is it's like, oh, like I love zines, and I've made a few zines before, and I love RPGs. So like, oh, the Kickstarter's doing this thing that combines these two things I love. Like, I have to get on it. And sort of, there are all these rules that Kickstarter has. You're supposed to use A5 paper. It's supposed to be one color ink on paper, one color. Those rules are kind of like loosey goosey, but I feel like in the sort of in the spirit of zines, I wanted to go with a more homemade feel. I wanted to go with just black and white, keep it simple. To have that sort of zine aesthetic where it does feel homemade and it does feel like I'm just like doing it out of my garage or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't want you to take that as a slight in any way at all. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate the homegrown feeling that you have in the artwork that you sent me. And I can tell just based off our communique that you're very pumped about it, and like you're really, really excited about your game, and it makes me excited for your game. So let's kind of talk about that. Why don't you give us the elevator pitch for what MechTek is?
Yeah. So the gameplay idea is that you are a mech pilot, and you get to piece together your own mech that affects your whole character's stats, and then you're battling mostly other mechs. The story is the year is 2111, and mech battling has been like a big sport on Earth. And all of a sudden, as like the mech championships are about to happen, there's these unknown alien invaders that come down who are in their own mechs. You, the player, have been a big fan of like mech fighting, and the United Earth government says, "Hey, we need more mech pilots to fight this off. We're recruiting. Like, join the ranks and help defend the Earth." So you're a novice, and you're going in there building your first mech. I'm sure if you wanted to homebrew it and say, "Oh, I want to be like a more experienced mech pilot," like you can increase your stats and stuff like that. But if you're just picking up for the first time, I think it's more fun to start at the lowest level and piece together your own mech. There's essentially, when you're creating your mech, it's sort of like a point-by system. You're given a certain amount of credits, and each piece of your mech costs a certain amount of money. So you can piece together your mech to start with, and then as you go, you can earn more credits to upgrade your equipment, or you can also find more equipment in the field or salvage it from like defeated opponents and things like that. So yeah, like I thought it was I'm sure something like this has been done before. I haven't seen it done with mechs, so I just thought mechs are cool. Why not? Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different interesting ways you can put your character together. I did the math on it, and so far with all the mech parts I've kind of developed and tried my best to balance, there's over 2,000 different ways you can build a mech.
Wow.
Because like X amount of arms and so many legs, and yeah, you put them all together and create your stats, and then battle other mechs. So yeah, and you want to talk about the little static stickers too? Is this a good opportunity?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so part of my higher tier is I've been experimenting. One of my higher tiers in the Kickstarter is actually like giving little static stickers to people of the mech parts. So this was just one of the I got this earlier this week. It's just one of the sample sheets that has a bunch of the mech pieces on it. So you're able to like take them and like build your own little mechs. And since they're static stickers, the pieces just like pop off, and then
Nice.
I can like, put on like another one, like that. So it's like it's pretty fun. So they're like little paper dolls essentially. And I don't know, like you don't have to have them to play. If you just back the digital reward tier or like the basic tier where you get the physical copy of the zine, like you're going to get downloads, so you could just you could print out one of these sheets yourself if you wanted to and just do them with paper. But yeah, somehow I got the idea in my head that static stickers would be fun, since they do kind of like adhere together pretty well and stuff, and then you can kind of see your mech for yourself. And I also am developing just a really basic Google spreadsheet where it'll help you when you're creating your character, and you can put in each piece, and then it gives you a graphical representation of the character that you build of your mech as well. I don't know. Were you able to mess around with that a little bit? Did it work for you?
I'm not very well versed with spreadsheets like that.
Oh, no.
So I looked at it. I mean, I could probably figure out how to use it. But I did look at it. I just didn't actually fiddle with it.
No, no worries. Yeah, and if you want me, I can send screenshots or something if you want to post them somewhere else. But yeah, so it's just a simple, you have drop down menus. So you pick your equipment, and then it assembles the mech on the screen for you too. So if you're the kind of player that does like to do, a lot of people use like the D&D Beyond app. So if you do like kind of using that stuff, then that's an option for you as well. You can just go straight pen and paper if you want to. But if you use this the spreadsheet as well, after you create your mech, you can just print out a character sheet with all of the stats filled in too. So you kind of do a little bit in between there as well.
Sweet. And when you say mech, are we talking like Pacific Rim size mech, or are we talking like maybe human size robotic type things?
Yeah, that was like really hard for me. I kept going back and forth on like which way I wanted to go, whether it was like Pacific Rim style, like or like Voltron size or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
They're more of the like mech suits, I guess.
Okay.
Not quite like Iron Man, because Iron Man is just like it's almost just like armor,
Yeah.
but mechs. So in the way I envision them, they're about 3 meters tall. So the like human pilots get in them. It's probably a little cramped, but it's not like they're just in the head of the mech. So yeah, they're about 3 meters tall and about 1 1/3 meters wide, depending
Gotcha.
on your mech setup. So
Gotcha. Okay,
yeah,
so like I think it's District 9 where they have the suits where you can jump in there. So and they're bigger than human, but a human can fit inside of them.
totally. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. So you kind of hit on this a little bit before, but I'm interested to find out why exactly Zine Quest and maybe not something else that's not as time sensitive to get funded. And have you ever participated in previous Zine Quest?
This is my first Zine Quest. I did a Kickstarter before. My career for the last 12 years has been working in cinema exhibition. So I've managed movie theaters. I've been a film programmer, both here in Colorado, in San Francisco, and then I worked in New Zealand for a few years as well, which was a lot of
Ah,
fun. But I was working for an art house theater here in Fort Collins called The Lyric, and this was in 2013. And as a lot of people probably know, the industry was transferring over from 35 millimeter film, which had been the standard since like the 1920s, to all digital projection, which was really costly. So I ran a Kickstarter for a theater, and we were successful. We raised just over $158,000,
wow.
and we were like, save the business or whatever. So I've gone through the whole Kickstarter rigmarole. Obviously, that was like 7 or 8 years ago, and that project was it was just a beast. A ton of backers, a ton of money. We overcomplicated the rewards way more than we needed to. We just had this sort of project bloat that kept getting bigger and bigger, and like more rewards and more this and more that. So I learned my lesson there of like, I don't need to go crazy with Kickstarters. This is my first, like I said, this is my first Zine Quest. I'm setting my goal really low. I think it's gonna be $350. And it like the whole event appeals to me because it is like down and dirty. Like, let's make a zine, let's make a game. I don't need a lot of money to print these things out and ship them out. Since I am staying true to the ideals of it being a zine, like I can send them all as letters when I mail them out to keep costs down. But yeah, like it's, like I said before, like zines and RPGs are both things I like, and it's a cool opportunity to be able to combine those two things for me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know, and I say this as kind of a disclaimer to anyone who's watching, and Kickstarter says it all over their site. Backing doesn't mean buying. But one of the things that appeals to me is the incentives that you get if you do decide to back. So what kind of tiers are we looking at for your project?
Sure. And these are all a little bit subject to change, but I think I'm like pretty solid where it's going to be. So figure PDF of everything and access to the like digital mech builder tool, like I mentioned to you, just $5. Keep it easy, keep it simple. That seems to be based on the data from the last 2 years, which has been going around. Someone, and I wish I knew their username on the Discord, was able to assemble some great spreadsheets that are really helpful to zine makers. Saying like, here's what, it took all the projects from the first year, and I think they did one for the second year too, and said like, this is how much these people asked for, and this was how big their zine was, and this is whether they were successful, and this is how long it took them to ship things out. So kind of looking through that and knowing that my zine is not, I'm not doing anything super crazy with it. I'm able to keep those costs low and realize that, $5 is like enough. Like, $5 for a digital zine, like that seems fair. Like
Yeah.
$5. I know some people have gone a little bit cheaper, but I also, have put some time and energy into this. So I feel like $5 is fair.
Yeah.
The next tier up, $10 for the a physical zine that'll be shipped out to you. I am charging more. If you're in the U.S., it's $2 more for shipping. International, it's $6 more for shipping. Sadly, I think those are just the costs that we all have to deal with as creators,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And then the next tier up, which is going to include the static stickers that you can play with, I think is going to be $16. I'm trying to like run some more numbers and get some more quotes to see if that's the right number. But each one of these sheets, and I think there'll be 2 or 3 of them, costs about an extra $2.50. So I'm not trying to make any real more money on those. Just like charging more to pay for the cost of them. And again, those last 2 physical tiers come with all the digital assets too.
Yeah.
And then finally, one of my other quarantine projects is I've gotten into printmaking. So I've been carving a lot of linoleum blocks and then printing them, which has been fun. So if you want to give me $30, and I'd love it if you gave me $30, I'm going to hand print the cover for you, just as like a fun thing, and that'll come with like the stickers and stuff too. I don't expect a ton of people to choose that tier. If I got 5, I would be thrilled. So this is what excites me so much about about doing this on Kickstarter and getting this out in the world, is like I think I'm pretty confident I'll be able to make $350, and just being able to get something that I made out to people, and hopefully a few of them play it, and maybe even 1 or 2 of them says, hey, I had a really good time with my gaming group. That would be like really special, I think. So that's like one of my motivating things, is saying like, knowing that someone else is having fun playing something that I made.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment, and I'll go on the record now saying that I will donate, or I will back the $30 range, just because I'm a sucker for things like that. I am a huge sucker for handcrafted anything. Count me in.
All right, sweet. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, no problem. And one of the things that I found while interviewing everyone that I've interviewed already is that everyone that reached out to me is probably something that I've already would have backed anyway. So I'm getting a lot of people who've created games that aren't your necessary run-of-the-mill type game. Not like, it's not an expansion of a 5e. It's not, you know what I mean? There's a little bit of everything's been a little different, and I really like that. I love different, especially when it comes to games. Zines, I'm just starting to dip my toe into zines, and what I've seen I like. I think the first zine that I bought was Mothership, because everyone told me I was looking for something that was like Aliens but played like Call of Cthulhu. And everyone told me, get Mothership. And I got Mothership, and it was beautiful. And then I got Morkborg, and that was even more beautiful. And then I started jumping in from there. And I think in my eyes, those two are kind of the standard now. They're the precipice of zine making, I guess. Um, but
Yeah,
any
my partner and I have one other couple in our pandemic bubble with us, and then her sister who lives with us too. And we've been playing Nate Treem's In the Light of a Ghost Star. We've had 4 or 5 sessions, and it's been so much fun.
Yeah,
It's
that is another one. That's another
yeah,
one that's on my list of like it's up there. Like
yeah,
whoever told me about Mothership also said you should check out that as well.
yeah, and it's sort of like an inspiration too. That because I bought this before I even knew about Zine Quest, and um, playing it and going through it and saying like, oh, this is well thought out, and this is really good, but this isn't something that's beyond my abilities to make, something similar or something that that people can enjoy. So it was really an inspiration seeing those kind of things like In the Light of a Ghost Star. And I'm like, yeah, like I know Nate Treem, like following him on Twitter and going to his website, like I don't know if he has another job or if he just does this kind of stuff for a living. But because he pumps out a ton of content, and I'm not as talented as him by any stretch of the imagination, but like, you know, he seems like a regular guy who just puts in the energy and like puts in the hours, and it makes me feel inspired to do it myself. So yeah, and I'll also say too, there are so many good Zine Quest projects that are coming together right now. He's in a lot of these groups. People are posting their not just the Kickstarter page that says the preview page says notify me when it goes live, but a lot of people are saying, hey, like here's my finished page because you can send a link to that. Like,
Yeah.
does anyone have any feedback? To be able to go through those, kind of get a preview of like what it all is before they go live. I'm really excited to back a lot of these projects and to play them too. If I make any money off this, I'm probably just going to like break even after spending anything on other Kickstarters because like I just feel like attached to these people now. We have like
Yeah.
online conversations and we're giving each other advice, and it's like, how can I not back your project? Like I'd be a real asshole if I didn't.
Yeah.
Like plus it's really cool. Like
Yeah,
um,
and I think that is a sentiment of every creator that I've interviewed so far is you know, you're also going to be backing projects. You're not just going to sit there and have people back yours and not also help and support other creators as well. Because like you said, in the RPG zine group, they're all supporters and also people who purchase games and play games and things like that. And I've never once seen anyone say an ill word about anyone's game or how they made it or the artwork or the writing style or the that doesn't work, anything like that. It's always supportive. And, I'm a big proponent of support indie artists. Any kind, it doesn't matter. Music, physical, like artwork, writing, whatever. Support them because they're going to be the next thing,
yeah.
and you don't know who that's going to be. And it's not to say that, I expect anyone that I back to be the next big thing, but it's that I appreciate the time and effort that they put into their work. And that deserves to be noted.
Yeah, and it's so cool what a variety of people are doing this project. Like, I think that like people would look at me and say, "Oh, like this guy's getting an MBA. He's like Mr. Business like that." And I don't think they would expect to me like me if they met me on the street to play tabletop RPGs or to make a zine about one that they made themselves. But there are so many like there's a ton of like LGBTQ creators that are like in the groups that are putting out zines that are and and they're like making experiences that mirror their experience in life,
Yes.
which I think is like so cool. There's a game that's on Kickstarter right now. It's not part of Zine Quest, but it's sort of the same feel. It's called I think Dungeon Bitches, and it's about like lesbians like living in these like dungeon caves. And it like I gotta back that one too because it's like so cool, and I want to be encouraging for these people. I want to be encouraging to these like LGBT or BIPOC creators who have a harder time than like white guys like me and you. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, and there's in this the RPG, just any kind of tabletop role playing game community, and yeah, my biggest thing is A, don't be a jerk, and B, if someone's feeling down, help pull them up. In whatever way that you can. And that's not saying that money will buy their happiness or their friendship from you, but if you support their project, it gives them more hope and more want to create again and to continue creating.
yeah, definitely.
And that goes to my next point is on the RPG Zine Facebook page, there was an idea brought up. It was a hashtag $28, 28 days. And so for every day in February, you back $1 to a project that you are not already backing, and that goes to help a creator A, get more money, B, get more backers, and C, by way of those two things, getting more presence in the mountain of games that are going to be thrown in there in February.
Yeah.
I plan on doing that. Is that something that you plan on doing as well?
Yeah, and I just haven't filled out the Google form. I know someone, I don't know who, maybe you posted a Google form about it, but I definitely need to, because like, $1 a day, like I can do that. Like
Yeah.
I don't have a job, and like I'm in a fortunate situation, but I can afford that, and I definitely want to support these other creators. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I also think that part of the idea behind that too is whatever Kickstarter algorithm it has, when you sort by magic,
Yeah.
I'm sure one of the attributes is not just dollars, but also number of donors,
Yes.
number of backers. So if you have 50 people doing that, and let's say 10 or 20 of them support a given project, that's got to boost their rankings. Just get more eyes, more uninvolved eyes on their project, and that should result in more sales for them.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
if you're if you're anyone like me, if I back $1 and they keep sending me updates about it every day, I'm probably eventually going to keep looking at it and jump up to the next tier or whatever the case may be. So it kind of does that $1 kind of puts the bug in your ear, and it will keep itching until you scratch it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who came up with it, but it's a great idea.
I'm not sure. I saw Tony Vicenda post something about it, and I just kind of was like, yeah, count me in. The form that you're talking about, I definitely think you should fill it out, considering that you're a creator, and that will bring more attention to you no matter what. But yeah, I definitely plan on doing that. And so to get back to MechTek, is everything? Is it all one solo? Is it a solo adventure? A solo venture for you? So you do art, you do the writing, you're doing the, organizing it through Drive-Thru RPG or whatever it is, or Itch, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I'm just it's a one-man show. I'm gonna have some friends play test it for me and like read through it and see what they think. In the final stages of it, but all the marketing, all the development, all the drawings, and I'm going through Itch, which just seems a little bit more creator friendly than Drive-Thru. But I mean, not knocking Drive-Thru
Yeah.
because it's really well for a lot of people. But yeah, I'm a one-man band here. I just I got this inspiration and these ideas, and I'm just kind of putting it out there, and it's been really great for me to have a project to do, because I haven't had a job. So it's like,
Yeah.
and it's all school, and then I have this, which is like so nice to have a second thing to spend my time doing when I'm not going out and hanging out with friends and
Yeah.
that fun stuff.
While staying inside, you're keeping yourself sane, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's great, man. And is there any other games or anything that you want to talk about, or that you want to that you maybe have in the works?
I have a few ideas. I don't think they're really fleshed out enough to really go that much into. If I can just give shout outs to other games that I've liked.
Sure.
I'll say Nate Treem is awesome, and all of his stuff is really cool. I'm not one of his Patreon backers, but that's actually, if I succeed in this campaign and I have a little bit of money left over after expenses, I'm totally going to be back his Patreon. I think the minimum level is like $2 a month, and I'm like, I'm going to make that happen.
Yeah.
There's also a buddy of mine. Let me look up what the correct name of it is. Oh, sorry, I should have.
That's quite all right, man.
Oh yeah. So there's a D&D adventure called Death by Goblins that this guy Gordon McAlpin, who I know, made, and that's on DriveThruRPG. I think it's $6 or $7, but it's like really awesome about it's just like about going into like a goblin lair, but it's really goofy, and he's got a great sense of humor. He did all the art. He if you've heard the name before, he's most known for a webcomic series he did for a long time called Multiplex.
Okay.
But he's also into D&D and stuff too. So Death by Goblins, check it out on DriveThruRPG. Yeah, and otherwise, just like, oh, there's another, there's like some other guy, totally unrelated to me, is doing like another mech game for the Zine Quest. Is this like a mech heist game where you like play a bunch of players who have to go steal a mech? So I want to, mention Search Mech. I don't remember what the name of his project is off the top of my head. But once it goes live, look for mechs and support his too if you're going to support mine.
Yeah, just like support everything that says mech.
Buddies. Yeah, exactly. But his project looks really cool too. Yeah, otherwise it's going to be an exciting month for me, and I think everyone else involved. I think I'm going live with my project on Friday the 5th. It seems like a good time to make it happen, kind of early in the cycle. But yeah, hopefully you can get some eyes on it and be successful. And yeah, so yeah, I appreciate what you're doing here to help get some more visibility to my project and to other people's projects too. I think it's really great.
That's not a problem at all. And like I said before, this isn't about me. This is about creators like you guys, who deserve recognition you're in a small pond, small fish in a small pond, and the pond is staying the same size, and there just keeps getting more fish and more fish and more fish. And it's people who are creating and putting themselves out there, and letting us share your dreams with you, and helping make those dreams of creating a game, funding a game, having it in people's homes come true. If I can do anything to help that, I'm all for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for all that, John.
Absolutely. And just before we go, I just wanted to say a few things. Wanted to reiterate the $28 in 28 days, hashtag $28, 28 days. Again, it's $1 each day in February to back a game that you're not already backing for $1, and it will go to help the indie artist and the indie creators, and to help get more presence on Kickstarter, more backers, more dollars. If you want to learn more about the Rollers of Relay, you can see our Linktree page. That's www.linktr.ee/Rollers of Relay, where we have all our links to social medias, podcast links, video link, and our Ko-fi page. But yeah, Michael, thank you so much, man. I look forward to seeing how MechTek does, and like you said, I think a $350 level is good for you. I think you could definitely hit that.
I think so too.
Yeah. I will definitely be backing. So that's 10% of that worry gone. And I hope anybody that hears this at least does the $5 tier, or even makes Michael's game MechTek a part of your 28 and 28.
Cool.
Thanks a lot, Michael. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Have a good one, man.
You.